Ayo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.
How does systemic racism manifest in the UK's healthcare system?
Whether it's institutional or systemic, I mean, look at who's employed at what level in the healthcare system. You know, you go into the healthcare system, I mean, it's upsetting sometimes. Systems operate in a particular way where who's residing in the lower levels of jobs. Mm. And why does that happen? What is a recruitment process? Part of the system's a recruitment process. Mm. How's the recruitment process operating? Yeah, as a system in the healthcare system. Mm. To the extent that at the bottom end, there's a lot of, and some people it's funny because people will criticise it. If you think about immigration and who's at the bottom end, you know, whether it's African workers or whatever, they're there. Mm-hmm. And at another level, there's less. And right at the top end, there's even less. Mm. So I think you have to look at recruitment generally, about what's going on in that system in regards to recruitment, and who's getting what and who's not getting what. Who's not getting board level positions. Who's getting the porter positions more. Mm. Like, come on. It's actually sometimes when you look at things under the microscope, and there's a different level of depth that you could look into this, but we haven't got the time for that now. But it can be upsetting looking across the board, not even at the healthcare system, but in all systems where there's underrepresentation at the top.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Can you talk about how black pain or illness is often underestimated or misdiagnosed in medical settings?
Some people don't know Dr. Mariam Sims, yeah? He was this real weird gynecologist that used to do experimentation on black slave women and black children. Mm. If anyone has ever done building and used a trowel to do pointing, he used to do weird things to black children's skulls. A lot of things were done without anaesthesia. Some of the operations that were done, that Dr. Mariam Sims done those times, even the people that were supporting him, the medical practitioners, they had to come out of the room. They couldn't deal with the screams and whatever when he was doing strange things to black slave women and little black kids. But there's been this stereotype that's been pushed, whether it's to black men and black women, that their pain threshold is higher than other people. So with that stereotype floating around in people's minds, when it comes to a pain situation with black women, a lot of the time they're denied the medication to relieve that pain. Now, how do you change that? If the research is there, people are reading it and nothing's changing. What does that mean? What does that mean? You know, because I understand this, that there are intellectual bodies that read the research and understand what's going on and nothing's changing. So either one, you're happy that that's happening. That's a real sort of demonic mindset, that you're happy that people are suffering in that way. Two, you're blinkered, because you making noise about it may have implications for you, because whistleblowers get no love. Yeah, so if you're going to get go to the top level of an institution and start talking out, it may have implications for your livelihood, your job, your children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or three, you just don't give a damn. You know, so I wonder sometimes when it comes to policies and procedures and people's interactions in regards to, and we're talking about black people predominantly, but just ethnic minorities, or should I say the ethnic majority. All right, we may be the ethnic minority in this country, but globally we're the majority.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even that play on words I've talked to you about before. What a beautiful word, what beautiful words in regards to making you feel inferior. Ethnic minorities. Let that soak up in your mind and feel like you're a minority. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How does racism in healthcare affect mental health access and stigma in the black community?
You know how many people I know? I've had 5 of my friends sectioned. And I know of other people that have been sectioned as well, that are sort of acquaintances. Oh my Lord. So there was a situation when one of my old acquaintances was having an argument in a home with their family. They came, the police came. I've known this guy as an acquaintance. He's not my deepest friend, but we interacted a lot at different points in time. One of my close friends. They sectioned him straight away. There's more than one case where people have been, whether taken off the street over some sort of verbal altercation, some incident, predominantly black men, and they've gone from being okay to being sectioned to becoming a mental patient that's now institutionalized and going for medication all the time. Because it just went from 0 to 100 in a second. You know, you have to be mindful. I'm very mindful of how I behave. I have to be mindful, and again, it's underpinned by trauma, because I know the powers that be. If I act a certain way, something can happen to me compared to someone else that acts a certain way, and they're talked down and treated nicely.
Yeah. How does institutional racism show up in the UK's criminal justice system?
All right, 4% of the population is black, 12% of the prison population is black. That wide disparity is mad. Yeah, I think, is it 75? I think it's 75% of the UK population is white and 85% of the prison population, if I'm getting it right, is white. You know, so it isn't as terrible as the 4 and 12%. Yeah, especially when you've got such a low number of black people in the country. We can talk about Stephen Lawrence all day, yeah, as a prime example of institutional racism. You got the assailants bagged to rights. People get off. They're back and forth for years. It's worn down the Lawrences to the extent, and you know, I don't know the ins and outs, but to see a family go through such trauma, then break up, it was heartbreaking for me, for those parents to break up as a consequence of that trauma, and I knew it was a long battle. But that's a prime example of bias and racism and injustice in the criminal justice system, when people were caught banged to rights and still nothing happened for over a decade. There's a very great book that I bought in uni. It's funny, it's a very small book by Paul Gordon called White Law. If you can find that on Amazon, I bought a second-hand copy in Amazon for £5. explicitly talks about the criminal justice system and the racism in there. Now there was one case where, and this was back in the day, where a young Asian girl was in court. She'd been raped by a white man. The white man got off, and I know that the criminal justice system back in the day was more archaic, to say the least, more racist. I mean, if you was gay back in the day, you was going to prison, so you know the nature of the criminal justice system then. But this young Asian girl was raped, and the white guy had got off the case because the judge had said that girls from Asia mature more quickly. What kind of nonsense is that?
That's wild.
You know, so across the criminal justice system, in regards to on the ground, on the beat with police, I think it's changing a little bit now to a certain extent, because you're getting like a lot more police from different ethnicities.
That's right.
That have got more of an understanding on how to treat people. You know, I feel sorry for them, because sometimes how they probably treat certain potential criminals or whoever on the street, they might get ostracized. And because it's like education, if you've got the skills to deal with difficult children in a certain way, where they listen to you, there are practitioners that hate you because they haven't got those skills. I'm sure that it's sort of similar in the police force. If you've got skills to interact with a certain set of society in a certain way, that some old school police may feel upset and think that you're dealing with them too lightly or whatever. But there's so much different things in the criminal justice system. I mean, let me give you a prime example, and this is a first-hand example from myself. So there was a time in my 20s when me and my friend had gone to see his girlfriend. I'll never forget this day. I was sitting at home, I was unemployed, I was broke. He came to see me, and he said, come with me to my girlfriend's in Archway. So I said, all right, I've got no money. He goes, all right. So I got in his car, we went to his girlfriend's for an hour, we was driving back. My friend's car ran out of petrol in Hornsey, near the roundabout near Fern Park Road. So we decided to start walking it back to Wood Green.
Yeah.
So walking, and then a police van passes us, and a police car passes us. And then all of a sudden another police car passes us, and they all roll up and do a U-turn and pull up by us. Where you coming from? We explained where we're coming from. Then all of a sudden, they said, swap your jackets. You know, being naive and young, you do things on command, because we weren't doing anything. So we swapped our jackets. Then they said, you're nicked and you're nicked. 2 counts of burglary. Like, what? Like, how that had an impact on me was mad over time. It's taken a long time for that incident to sort of fade out, and it hasn't faded out because I'm talking about it today. So that I've gone from coming out of my house broke watching Oprah to go out with my friend to be arrested and now be on a case for 2 counts of burglary at Wood Green Crown Court. How did that happen? So the case went forward. It took 18 months to get into court. We haven't done anything. Now, I was adamant at that stage in my 20s, in my mind, with anger, that if I go to prison, I don't know what I'm going to do when I come out. That level of injustice that I was feeling was consuming me at that time. The first day it got into court, because I had no evidence. Every time we were supposed to go into court, it got adjourned because the police didn't have this or that or that or this, because they had nothing. The first day it went into court, it was so funny. So they were questioning the police, and the judge said, so what are you saying? Mr. Bachchan Singh wasn't there? And the police was sort of like, And he goes, are you saying that Mr. Bachchan Singh wasn't there? And the copper said, yeah, I'm saying that. The judge pointed at me and said, get out of the court. I didn't mind the way you said it. I just wanted out of the court.
Yeah.
My friend was in the neck till the following day, and then he got thrown out. He come out. But you know how many times I've got stopped especially in my youth. There was a time when we came from an all-dayer, me and 5 friends, Hackney Downs all-dayer, and we was walking near the back of Wood Green. 2 police vans and 3 police cars just came out quick, rushed us up against the bushes, searching us, took us away, and then 2 of my friends, they said that they were out the day before and robbed 5 white boys, held up 5 white boys outside McDonald's on Wood Green High Road. Now, at that time, I was babysitting my friend's children with those friends at that time the day before. So they couldn't have been there. But they had a case. They just rolled up. You know, that happens now. And that was happening then. Let alone the things that are happening inside the court. You know, stop and searches are a joke. I know there's this, there are problems with knife crime. You're the one that gave me the heads up on the West Midlands and knife crime and its prevalence in a white area compared to London, with that narrative being pushed that everyone looks at young black boys like they're knife wielding mad people, you know. But stop and search, even from the sus law till now, there's still a disparity in how black people are treated. Stop and searches in your car as an older person, you know, if you drive a Mercedes. I'm so glad I drive a Citroen now. Yeah, I never drove a Mercedes anyway, but you know, why should you have to think about the car that you're going to buy? Yeah? Why should that even be a thought? Whatever you want, you should be able to buy and drive along on the street without thinking, oh God, I might get stopped now because I'm driving a Mercedes or a BM.
That's right. That's right. Calculated steps, you know. What role does school exclusion play in pushing young black boys towards the criminal justice system?
It plays a major role. I mean, if you come into school and you've already been taught the talk by your parents about look out for this, you're already on your back foot. I'm sorry, you've got a choice. You either don't tell them anything and let them go through it, and they might not talk to you and build up so much animosity that in one breath they're out of that school and suspended. Or you teach them that you've got to navigate through things, they see it, and then they get disgruntled because they've been told that this is going to happen and it's happened. And they're in disbelief. Oh, it is happening in here. It is, the system is like this. Yeah, so exclusion, and like I was saying, if you've been taught anything by your parents in regards to having to navigate the system and you see it happening, you're having to navigate it, it can leave a bad taste in your mouth. If you're not told anything, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth if you're experiencing things and your family hasn't told you, but you're thinking, oh God, I'm being treated differently. So you'd be on your back foot. So once you start, if there's a time when you start getting excluded and you've been told that potentially if you behave in a certain way or if you don't behave in a certain way, you could be subjected to exclusion, you're already in a sort of traumatizing space. You're already feeling, all right, I'm being treated different, what's going to happen to me? Yeah. Now, once you start getting excluded and you start feeling society as a whole, on the streets you might feel society as a whole is against you and systems are against you. Once you start feeling that an institution that's supposed to be looking after you and educating you is against you. And it's sort of, and there's another tier to this, because capitalism, materialism and media highlight certain things nowadays. Young people that are on the streets sensationalise things nowadays. So it's not only about the education system, it's also about those outside forces that sort of make young people gravitate towards them as a consequence of what's going on in the school system. So you're having a hard time in the school system, but you know of people that want to be gangsters and street hustlers, etc., that are making good money without even being in school. If you're having a hard time in school, and school's about generating wealth, especially if you come from an impoverished environment, you see mum struggling, you see dad struggling, you whatever, you're in a one-parent household and you see struggle, whatever's going on. Education's not seeming right for you. You're fighting forces in there. And then people talk nonsense on a criminal level, youngsters, like it's all good, even though they're suffering, and they might be at the hands of older guys on county lines, but they're wearing the latest Jordans and they've got whatever. When you're starting to feel that pressure in school and someone's giving you a different story that's making it sound glamorous, and you can get all the things you want, potentially, that's what they're telling you, school becomes redundant. You know, so school plays quite a large role, but the forces outside of school also contribute towards young boys moving in a different direction beyond school. But, you know, it's like this. There's a, you know, not many people know, because it's quite strange with education and young black people, and even inspiring. If people want black boys and black children to do better in school, even though part of that is some strange narrative, because they do pretty well in school. It's only at the latter stage that some of them start falling off a bit, but from primary to entering secondary school, they do really well, especially black African children. But like having black history, or filling up human history, or history as a lesson with filling the holes with black history, why aren't other bits of information provided to all children to understand the academic abilities of black children generally? There's black children in certain parts of the world that are doing amazing things, in Nigeria, etc. It was only more recently that I found out that there's 3 black children, Romani, Alana, I can't even remember all 3 of their names, that have got higher IQs than Einstein and Bill Gates. Now, if I wasn't sifting through certain information, I would never even know that. I'm sure a significant amount of black parents and black children don't know that at the top end of intellect are 3 young black children. Why isn't that promoted? Why are TV programs not promoting that? Why are TV series not promoting that? Why are they promoting that gangster narrative more than anything else, and that dysfunctional narrative? Why don't you promote the greatness of our history? You know, there's still these images in media when you see charities asking for money, and you know, and even though it's across the world in different countries, you'll still see black children, you know, not so fly infested in their eyes and that, like the old adverts, but still making Africa look like it's a mad impoverished country when it's far from that.
Yeah, we're the poster boys for impoverished situations and poverty and stuff like that. It's mad.
But that pushes out the narrative to everyone.
Yeah.
You know.
Can we truly reform the police, or does the system need to be reimagined entirely?
There's good and bad apples everywhere. I think when you've had institutions operating for so long, it's like old teachers and anyone old in their workplace, you become stuck in your ways. Yeah, it's hard. You need new blood, new fresh blood that have got a different insight to things. These is like politicians, old educators, yeah, all these old people just stuck in their ways, not willing to take advice. You know, ego's a mad thing, and seniority through age is a mad thing. Yeah, people, their ears are closed. There's an oppositional force that works in regards to young people putting across the information that may help, and older people in certain industries listening. You need advice from younger people that have got that empathy and insight to overhauling injustice-like systems, yeah, and turning it around. So it can happen, but whether it happens in our lifetime, one of the lovely things I like is integration.
Right.
You know, you'd never, back in the day, in my time, when I was in school in the 1980s, find a mixed race Polish boy or girl and Nigerian. So they're Polish and Nigerian mixed, yeah? Or Albanian and Ethiopian, or whatever the mix is. Now, as these children grow up into adults that see the world in a particular way, and if they get positions of power, because they've lived this duality, and sometimes, a lot of the time, it can be quite overwhelming for mixed race people, yeah, in regards to finding their identity and understanding themselves. But they have real power in regards to entering certain doors and making a change. I mean, they got Kemi Badenoch as a politician. That's quite a dark-skinned woman. But we know there's a different treatment between white people and light-skinned people and darker-skinned people. It's in the research. So there may be some people that can enter some doors and make some change on a different level. And I'm hoping that, you know, there was a time when you saw no black faces in politics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was quite critical, and I don't know much about politics on a political level. And I'm sorry, David Lammy. You know, I was quite critical of you when you first entered into politics. But over time, I've seen the good work he's been doing, and you know, what he's been talking about in regards to the black community hasn't been wrong at all. You know, but there needs to be some more voices like that. There need to be younger voices that politicians, the old school politicians, will listen to and think about making changes that translate into policy, and that translate into actual things operating in a more equitable manner.
What impact does over-policing and stop and search have on the mental health of young black men?
I wish there was over-policing. There's under-policing nowadays. It's so weird what's going on the streets, you know. That's why you see so much nonsense going on social media. I don't know where the police have gone. I don't know why they don't turn up. I don't know why they turn up at things and sometimes over-exuberant practices when it's minor, and when it comes to something major, they're not. I don't know what level of dysfunction's going on in the police force at the moment. If there was over-policing, it's sort of ending now. For me, there's under-policing, and a lot of crimes that are not heinous, but horrible crimes on the street. You can see it played out on a video, and no police turn up when it's all been played out for 5, 10, 15 minutes with the knives and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what's going on British streets? I know there's an outcry on social media from a lot of people across the board of all demographics about what's going on in London at the moment. Where are the police service? What are the police doing? So even though it's changed the question a bit, there was over-policing. I've been in a situation when I've called the police. I've had to call the police in school because of a young person having a knife, and they haven't turned up. You know, in that situation, I know that young person wasn't going to do anything with the knife, and I retrieved the knife, but the police never turned up. You'll get that. People in their homes, something will happen. They'll get burgled or whatever. Police might not turn up for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, you know, that's mad.
You know, so I think under-policing has become a real major issue for a lot of people in society nowadays, because things and things have changed significantly. How can you have a situation, and that's why it feels like in society we've lost power. How can you have a situation where, like the place in Enfield, the retail park near Southbury Road, where they had the night shop, and young people were robbing it on a regular basis, to the extent that they closed it down. Young people would just go in there, take things, the police wouldn't even come, the staff felt powerless, ended up shutting down the shop.
Yeah, that's wild. Saying that, how do we empower our children to navigate and challenge systemic racism without burdening them?
It's all about education more than anything else. But I think if you're providing people with, your young children with information to navigate the social space, it's already a burden that they've got to carry. But you give them the information to carry a burden that works out to be a positive in the end, in regards to where they end up. You know, I don't think you can give children information about prejudice and navigating the system and racism and discrimination. And if you're deep in infantilization and adultification and all the things that come with being black, is we've always had to hold some level of burden. You know, there are black people out there that are separate from all that. They just get on with things without immersing themselves in a black experience. And there's a lot of successful black people like that. I've got a friend like that, that he's not immersed in black history. Him and his family are more immersed in business. And him and his sons and his family, they seem to have moved in a direction that has benefited the whole family, and his children have moved quite blinkered, I would say, in a certain way, understanding the plight of black people, but not feeding them a narrative of what can happen. And they've operated really well. So, you know, it's a lot down to personal choice. A lot is down to your own experiences as a parent. Because sometimes you hand over the mantle to your children. With my children, I try to give them information, but also try not to affect their authentic self. So they're still them. It's a fine line, but I think it can be done.
Yeah.
I don't overburden them with things about racism. I might talk briefly about inequality, but I talk more about the kings and queens and achievements to reinforce their self-esteem, self-worth and self-identity. So that's the tool for navigating through. I don't want them to see the world in a way where they think that all white people are racist, all systems are against them. I don't want them to be on their back foot. And like I said, I want them to be authentic in themselves and be able to navigate without a load of negative information in their minds. So yeah.
Last thing, if someone's watching this and they're feeling overwhelmed by the scale of systemic racism, what's the first small step that they could take?
I'm assuming that they're talking to someone already. Yeah. If you're not, you need to talk to someone. But a majority of the time, if you're experiencing something, there's a friend or someone in the workplace, a few people are usually talking, especially if they're all observing it. But if it goes beyond that, and I do talk about therapy, but you've got to be at a place where you're actually, pardon me, you're starting to feel that it's having such a detrimental impact on you. Your behaviour's not the same. Yeah, you're feeling anxiety on a regular basis.
Yeah.
That anxiety can lead to hypertension and high blood pressure, and there's a lot of black people in the local community that suffer from those things, those conditions. So if that's starting to happen, you're going to have to go and talk to a professional. I mean, in a lot of institutions, they got posters with organisations that are out there to help you. So you're going to have to go somewhere. Don't let what you're experiencing in a workplace, in any institution, have a detrimental impact on your health. People take it for granted, or they become desensitized, or they just get on with it, a normal black trait, to the detriment of their health. And then you have to end up leaving your kids and them going to a funeral because you had a heart attack one day and never came back. But you weren't monitoring what was going on with your anxiety and the feelings day to day. But some people don't. You know, I made a conscious decision to start my own business because I understood the feelings I was feeling in the workplace. You know, I wasn't going to let my observations and the feelings I had at different points in time have a detrimental impact on my health. So I left. You know, and that's the reality of the situation. People could criticize me for leaving. It's my life, it's my choice, yeah, for my own well-being. You know, so, and I say criticize me because some people, and I'm not here to expose anyone, you're not looking through my lens, so you're not seeing what I'm seeing. But I know other people that were seeing what I was seeing, you know. So it's like James Baldwin, you know, and I say this in a light-hearted manner when he said that white people exist in a history they don't understand. There's processes and phenomena that go on regarding our black experience that you don't understand racism on the level we understand it. You don't understand prejudice or discrimination. You don't feel the projections of disdain from a person when they talk to you around the table about something in the way that we feel it, and you're wondering, why are you talking to me like that? Yeah, and for no reason someone starts talking to you in a derogatory manner in a professional meeting. And other people that are white as well can observe it and wonder what's going on. It happens. You know, so seek help. Your health comes first before any job. Think about your children and your family. No one wants to come to your door, their mum's door or their father's door, and knock on their house and looking through the window and see you collapse dead because of your workplace. No. Just go and find, seek some help.
Definitely. Thank you for your time again, my brother.
Thank you. Yeah.
Another great episode. Peace.
Ayo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.